I slid the envelope across the mahogany table, the crisp paper cutting through the silence like a blade through water. The sound made everyone freeze. My daughter-in-law's fork stopped midway to her mouth. Her father's wine glass hung suspended in the air. My son, Marcus, looked at me with those eyes I'd seen 1,000 times before. The ones that said, "Dad, what are you doing now?" But this time, I wasn't backing down. This time, I had a plan. The envelope contained 3 words, written on my attorney's letterhead. Just 3 words. But those 3 words were going to change everything. Let me back up. Let me tell you how we got here. To this Mother's Day brunch at the Sterling Club, the country club I'd been a member of for 37 years. The one where I'd taught Marcus to swim in that Olympic-sized pool when he was 5. I'm Richard Caldwell, 73 years old, retired aerospace engineer. I spent 42 years designing guidance systems for commercial aircraft. The kind of work where one miscalculation could kill 300 people. Precision wasn't just my job, it was my religion. I built my life the same way I built those systems. Methodically, carefully, with redundancies and fail-safes. I married young, 23. Linda was 21, a nursing student with auburn hair and a laugh that could light up a room. We had Marcus 2 years later. Linda died when he was 12, ovarian cancer. It took her in 8 months. I raised that boy alone. Worked 60-hour weeks and still made it to every baseball game, every parent-teacher conference, every school play where he had 3 lines and forgot 2 of them. I paid for his private high school, his 4 years at Northwestern, his MBA at Stanford. When he wanted to start his tech company at 28, I didn't just believe in him. I wrote the check. $475,000. My retirement savings. My safety net. Gone. "Dad, I'll pay you back double," he'd said, gripping my hand across the table at that Italian restaurant in Palo Alto. I didn't want double. I wanted my son to succeed. And he did. 3 years later, he sold the company for $18 million. He bought a house in Marin County with a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. He joined the Sterling Club. He started dating Victoria Chen, 32, beautiful, Stanford MBA like Marcus. Her father owned a chain of luxury hotels across California. Her mother was a retired district court judge. They had money, real money, the kind that goes back 3 generations. The first time Marcus brought her home for dinner, she looked around my modest 3-bedroom in Pleasant Hill and asked, "Is this where you've always lived?" I'd bought that house in 1978 for $89,000, raised my son there. Linda died in the bedroom upstairs. "Yes," I said simply. She smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. It's very authentic. They married 2 years ago. I paid for the wedding. Not because they needed it, because Marcus asked, and I'd never been able to tell my son no. $43,000. The venue Victoria wanted. The photographer Victoria wanted. The flowers Victoria wanted. At the reception, during the toasts, Marcus thanked Victoria's parents for showing him what real family support looks like. I remember gripping my champagne glass so hard I thought it might shatter. But I smiled. I clapped. I hugged my son and told him I was proud, because that's what fathers do. 6 months ago, things changed. Marcus called me on a Tuesday evening. "Dad, Victoria and I have been talking. We want you to move in with us." My heart lifted for just a moment. My son wanted me close. "We've got that guest house in the back. It's just sitting empty. You could sell your place, move in, be closer to us, be part of our daily lives." I should have heard the calculation in his voice, but I didn't want to. "Let me think about it," I said. 2 weeks later, I said yes. I sold my house, the house where Linda and I had our first Christmas, the house where Marcus took his first steps, the house where I'd cried alone for 6 months after Linda died, trying to figure out how to be both mother and father to a 12-year-old boy. It sold for $920,000. The Bay Area market had been good to me. I moved into their guest house, 800 square feet, 1 bedroom, a kitchenette. It was nice, nicer than most apartments, but it wasn't mine. "Just keep your money in savings, Dad," Marcus had said. "You might need it for medical stuff as you get older." Sound advice, caring advice. I should have wondered why he cared so much about my money. The first month was fine. I had dinner with them twice a week. Victoria was polite, distant, but polite. Her parents visited once, and her father asked me what I did. I was an aerospace engineer, I said. Oh, he said. So you worked with your hands? I'd had a master's degree from MIT. I'd held 3 patents. But sure, I worked with my hands. The second month, the dinner invitations became once a week. The third month, twice a month. By the 6th month, I was eating alone in my guest house, watching through the window as they hosted dinner parties on their patio, watching as they laughed with Victoria's parents, with their friends from the club, with people I'd never met. I never asked why I wasn't invited. I knew. Then came Mother's Day. Marcus called me Saturday morning. Dad, we're doing brunch at the Sterling tomorrow. Noon. You should come. Not, we'd love for you to come. Not, it would mean a lot to Victoria's mom. You should come. Like an obligation. Like checking a box. But he was my son. So I said yes. I got there at 11:55. I've always been early. Military father. The table was set for 7. Marcus and Victoria, her parents, Richard and Margaret Chen, her brother Daniel and his wife Sophie, and me. Except when I got to the table, there were only 6 chairs. Oh, Dad, Marcus said, not quite meeting my eyes. We weren't sure you were coming. Let me grab another chair. I'd confirmed yesterday. He knew I was coming, but I stayed quiet. I sat in the chair Marcus brought from another table. I smiled. I nodded. I ordered the eggs Benedict because that's what I always ordered at the Sterling. Victoria's father was telling a story about their hotel in Napa, about some celebrity who'd stayed there last month. Everyone was laughing. I laughed too, even though I'd missed the setup. Then Victoria stood up. She was holding a small box, wrapped in silver paper. Before we eat, she said, I have something for everyone. She walked around the table, handing out small boxes. To her mother, to Sophie, to Daniel, to Marcus, to her father, not to me. These are just little tokens, she said, to celebrate family, to celebrate the people who support us, who believe in us. She opened her mother's box first. Inside was a silver pin, shaped like a key. For the key holders of our lives, Victoria said. The people who've opened doors for us. Her mother was crying. Happy tears. She pinned it to her blouse. Everyone opened their boxes. Everyone got a key pin. Marcus looked at his, smiled, pinned it to his jacket. I sat there with empty hands. Victoria, her mother said, this is beautiful. What a thoughtful tradition to start. I want to make this a yearly thing, Victoria said. Every Mother's Day, we celebrate the people who truly matter. The people who truly matter. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Something I hadn't felt since Linda's funeral. The feeling of being completely, utterly alone. Dad, Marcus said quietly, leaning toward me. Don't make a scene. I hadn't said anything, hadn't moved, but he knew. He knew exactly what this was. The server came with our food. I looked down at my eggs Benedict. The hollandaise sauce was congealing. I wasn't hungry anymore. Victoria's father raised his glass. A toast, he said. To family. To the people who invest in our future. To the people who build legacies. Everyone drank. I set my glass down untouched. That's when I reached into my jacket pocket. I pulled out the envelope, the one I'd prepared 3 days ago, after Marcus had casually mentioned that Victoria's brother might need a place to stay and the guest house would be perfect. After I'd overheard Victoria on the phone with her mother, saying, we'll just wait it out. He's 73. How much longer can it be? After I'd started paying attention, really paying attention, I slid the envelope across the table to Marcus. What's this? He asked. Open it. His hands shook slightly as he tore the envelope. He pulled out the single sheet of paper. I watched his face drain of color. Dad, what is this? Read it out loud, I said calmly. I'm not. Read it, Marcus. He swallowed. Notice of eviction. The table went silent. You're evicting me? His voice cracked. From where? From my property, I said. The property at 2847 Willow Creek Lane, Marin County. The property you currently live in. Victoria's mother laughed. Actually laughed. Richard, I think you're confused. That's Marcus and Victoria's house. I pulled out my phone, opened my photos, showed them the deed with my name on it. Not Marcus's name, mine. When you wanted to buy that house 3 years ago, I said, speaking slowly, clearly, you were 700,000 short. The sale price was 3.2 million. You had 2.5 million from your company sale. Marcus was staring at the phone screen. But we got a mortgage. You got a mortgage for 2.5 million, I said. In your name. I paid 700,000 cash. And I put my name on the deed, as primary owner. You have a 40% stake, Marcus. I have 60%. I'd learned from the first time. When I gave him 475,000 for his business and got nothing in writing. When he sold, and I got a thank you card and a bottle of scotch. This time, I'd protected myself. You put your name on our house? Victoria's voice was shrill. Without telling us? I told Marcus, I said. The day we signed. Remember, son? Marcus's mouth opened, closed. He remembered. The plan was to transfer it to you when I died, I said, to avoid estate taxes, to make things simple. That was my plan. Was? Marcus whispered. Was, I confirmed. I'm invoking the ownership clause. You have 60 days to vacate or buy me out. Current market value for my share is approximately 5.2 million. Victoria's father was red-faced. You can't do this. We'll fight it. The paperwork is ironclad, I said. I had it reviewed by 3 different attorneys. You're welcome to try. I stood up, placed my napkin on my untouched plate. I raised you alone, Marcus, I said. After your mother died, I worked 16-hour days so you could go to private school. I paid for college, for business school. I gave you the money to start your dream. I paid for your wedding. I gave you a place to live when you needed it. My voice didn't shake. 42 years of precision engineering. Steady hands. All I wanted was respect, I said. All I wanted was to be treated like family, not like an obligation, not like something to tolerate until I died and you could have what's left. Dad, please, Marcus stood up, reaching for me. I stepped back. You should have given me a key pin, I said. I opened every door you ever walked through. I turned and walked out of the Sterling Club. Behind me, I heard Victoria crying, heard her father shouting, heard Marcus calling my name. I kept walking. I drove straight to my attorney's office. Yes, on a Sunday. I paid him very well for availability. Richard, Thomas said, standing from his desk. Is it done? It's done, I said. Initiate Phase 2. Phase 2 was the trust fund, the one I'd set up for Marcus's future children. $400,000, growing at 6% annually for the last 15 years, now worth just over $800,000. I'd established it when Marcus turned 30, named myself as the sole trustee until my death. I want to dissolve it, I said. Donate everything to the Bay Area Engineering Scholarship Fund. Richard, are you sure? What if Marcus has kids? What if he has children, he can pay for their education himself, I said, with the 18 million he made, or the money his wife's family has. They don't need mine. Thomas nodded slowly, started typing. And the guest house? He asked. I'm moving out tomorrow. I've rented a condo in Walnut Creek. Already signed the lease. You're really doing this. Thomas, I spent 42 years making sure airplanes didn't fall out of the sky, I said. I understand consequences. I understand backup systems. And I understand when a system has failed beyond repair. I signed the papers, all of them. The trust dissolution, the formal eviction notice, the property management agreement to list the house for sale if they didn't buy me out. By the time I left Thomas's office, it was 3 p.m. My phone had 37 missed calls, 14 from Marcus, 12 from Victoria, 11 from numbers I didn't recognize. I turned it off. I drove to my guest house. Started packing. I didn't have much. I'd sold most of my furniture when I moved in. My books, my tools, Linda's photo albums, my clothes, my father's Navy medals, everything that mattered fit in my Honda Accord. At 6 p.m., I heard the main house door slam. Footsteps on the path to the guest house. Marcus didn't knock. He had a key. He came right in. Dad, please. We need to talk. I continued folding my shirts. We don't. This is insane. You're throwing away our relationship over a pin? Over not getting invited to enough dinners? I stopped, looked at him, really looked at him. He had Linda's eyes, her nose, but I didn't see her in him anymore. I'm not throwing away our relationship, Marcus, I said quietly. You already did that. I'm just accepting it. We can fix this. Victoria's sorry. She didn't mean. She meant it, I said. And you let her. You sat there with your little key pin, and you let her exclude me from family. In public. At a table where I didn't even have a chair. We forgot to. You didn't forget. You hoped I wouldn't come. His silence confirmed it. Where's the $475,000, Marcus? He blinked. What? The money I gave you for your company. You said you'd pay me back double. Where is it? Dad, that was an investment. You knew the risks. And the $43,000 for your wedding? Was that a loan or a gift? That was you offered. The $700,000 for the house? The $150,000 I've spent over the last 3 years on property taxes and maintenance for this place, while you paid nothing? His face went white. You never asked for. I never asked because you're my son, I said. Because I loved you. Because I thought family didn't keep score. I zipped my suitcase. But you kept score, I said. You and Victoria and her family. You added up what I could give you versus what they could give you. And I came up short. So I became the obligation. The old man in the guest house. The embarrassment who worked with his hands. Nobody said that. Her father said that. To my face. And you said nothing. I picked up my suitcase. Walked past him to the door. You have 60 days, I said. After that, the house goes on the market. My attorney recommends a starting price of $8.7 million. You'll make a nice profit on your share. Congratulations. Dad, don't do this. Please. I looked at him one last time. My son, my boy, the kid I'd taught to ride a bike, to throw a curveball, to balance a checkbook. You did this, Marcus, I said. You chose a woman who treats people like investments. You chose her family over yours. You chose comfort over character. Those were your choices. These are the consequences. I walked to my car, put my suitcase in the trunk. He followed me out. Where are you going? Away from people who measure my worth by my bank account and my age. You're my father. Yes, I said. I am. And I always will be. But I'm done being your ATM. I'm done being the backup plan. I'm done being tolerated instead of treasured. I got in my car. Through the rearview mirror, I saw him standing in the driveway. He looked small, lost. Part of me wanted to stop, to go back, to forgive. But I thought about Linda, about what she'd say if she could see this. She'd say, Richard, you taught him to stand up. Now teach him what happens when you don't. I drove away. The condo in Walnut Creek was small. 1 bedroom. But it had a balcony with a view of Mount Diablo. I could see the sunset from there. I unpacked slowly, put Linda's photo on the nightstand, my father's medals on the bookshelf, my books in alphabetical order, the way I liked them. My phone stayed off for 3 days. When I finally turned it on, there were 143 messages, most from Marcus, a few from Victoria, several from numbers I didn't know, probably her family's attorneys, and one from Thomas. Richard, Marcus came by my office. He wants to negotiate. Call me. I didn't call. 3 weeks later, Thomas called me. They've made an offer, he said. $4.8 million for your share. Below market value. An insult, really. Rejected, I said. Richard, that's not. They have 6 weeks left. Market value or eviction. No negotiations. 2 weeks after that, Marcus showed up at my condo. I don't know how he got my address. Probably my attorney let it slip. I almost didn't open the door. But he's my son. He looked terrible. Thinner. Dark circles under his eyes. Dad, he said. Please, can we talk? I stepped aside. Let him in. He sat on my couch. Looked around the small space. This is nice, he said. It's mine, I said. That's what makes it nice. Victoria and I are separating. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No sorrow. Just numbness. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. He was right. I wasn't. Her parents want to buy your share of the house, he said. 5.2 million. Market value. They'll cut a check tomorrow. Fine. I'm moving out too. I can't live there. Not after this. Where will you go? I got an apartment in Oakland, near Jack London Square. I'm starting over. Good. We sat in silence. I'm sorry, Dad, he said finally. You were right. About all of it. About Victoria. About her family. About me. Yes. Is that all you're going to say? What do you want me to say, Marcus? That it's okay? It's not okay. You hurt me. You chose people who measured you by your bank account over the man who loved you when you had nothing. I know. Do you? Because I spent 50 years of my life building safety into systems, redundancies, backups, ways to prevent catastrophic failure. And I thought I'd built that into you. Taught you integrity, taught you loyalty, taught you that character matters more than comfort. You did. I just forgot. You didn't forget, I said. You chose to ignore it. There's a difference. He wiped his eyes. Can you forgive me? Eventually. Maybe. But not today. What about us? What about our relationship? That depends on you, I said. On whether you're actually sorry or just sorry you got caught. Sorry you're facing consequences. Sorry you lost your house and your wife and your comfortable life. I'm sorry I hurt you. Then prove it. Not with words. Not with apologies. With time. With change. With becoming the man I raised you to be. Not the man Victoria's family wanted you to be. He nodded. Stood up. I love you, Dad. I know, I said. I love you too. But love isn't enough. Not anymore. Respect is what I need now. And you have to earn that back. He left. I stood on my balcony, watched the sun set over Mount Diablo. My phone buzzed. Thomas, the wire transfer went through. 5.2 million. It's in your account. 5.2 million. Plus the 920,000 from my house. Plus my pension. Plus my savings. $7 million. At 73 years old, I thought about what to do with it. I thought about Linda. About the nursing scholarship she'd always wanted to establish. I thought about the young engineers who couldn't afford MIT. I thought about the life I could live. The travel I'd never done. The things I'd sacrificed for a son who'd forgotten to value me. Tomorrow, I'd call Thomas. Set up the scholarships. Book a trip to Italy, the one Linda always wanted to take. But tonight, I stood on my balcony in my small condo that was mine. I felt the cool evening air. I felt free. For the first time in 3 years, I felt like I mattered. Not because of what I could give, but because I'd finally chosen to give to myself. The sunset was beautiful. I watched until the last light faded. Then I went inside, made myself dinner, and ate alone. And it didn't feel lonely. It felt like peace.